oh, who doesn't like each other, you know? And I mean, I guess the best time we're going to get to know each other is in the octagon for 25 minutes. So that's really about it.
I told these guys, brother, I pay for the English teachers 1 year. They don't learn nothing. Garry was talking very nicely about him. He said, shut up. Be nice, brother.
I don't hear what I say, bro, because the crowd is go crazy there.
Brother, sometimes maybe you don't like somebody, but when somebody give you respect, just at least be quiet. Don't say shut up.
Bro, also, it's not good when somebody talking and jump and say something, bro. Let me finish. Interrupt.
You wanna say it's not good when you talk, when somebody interrupt you. Tell him interrupt.
California cheesecake, yes.
Okay, 1-1.
The microphone feedback shrieked as Khabib Nurmagomedov slammed his fist on the press conference table, issuing an absolute ultimatum that sent a freezing shockwave through the entire room. Rumors had been swirling behind closed doors for weeks, but hearing it articulated like a death sentence changed everything for the lightweight division. Islam Makhachev sat silently beside him, stone-faced and unfazed, staring into the bright camera lights with the cold realization that his legendary career might be hitting an abrupt and dramatic wall. The wrestling maestro was being pushed toward a final, defining crossroads by his closest mentor, and the MMA world was completely unprepared for the seismic fallout about to hit them.
When I beat him, you'll all shut your fucking mouth and you'll call me great.
Ian, clearly you're having fun with the crowd. Are you a little bit surprised? Why don't these people like you?
I couldn't give a fuck. I couldn't care less. My little boy's here laughing at me, smiling at me, making faces. I'm living the dream. Islam's here. I get to show up on Saturday night and fight for a world title. I dreamt of this dream when I was a 16-year-old kid. I dreamt of being a UFC fighter. I dreamt of having the ability to fight for a UFC world title. And this weekend, on August 15th in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, all of my dreams come true, and nobody can take that away from me.
The explosive tension in the room was palpable as Khabib openly condemned the blatant disrespect leaking into fight week, demanding an immediate shift in standards or consequences no one wanted to see. He pointed out how language barriers and heated egos were destroying basic sportsmanship, venting his frustration about opponents talking over each other and lacking any shred of decency. This wasn't just standard pre-fight trash talk or playful promotion. It was a deeply personal crusade about honor, respect, and the code that the team lived by. And standing directly in the crosshairs of this intense philosophical storm was Garry, a surging challenger who lived for the exact kind of chaos Khabib despised.
Master manipulation. That's what it's called. Movement at the highest level. It's called master manipulation. I move, I choose shots, I force them where I want them to be, and then I take my time to choose the right shots. Islam's a phenomenal talent. He's a phenomenal athlete. Nobody gets to this level of respect where he's got this streak by luck. It's pure skill. I have nothing but respect for his skill set, everything he's done in this sport. And I'm proud, and I'm proud that I get to compete against him to prove that I'm the champion. That's an honor, and I'm excited.
Garry grinned wide under the flashing lights, completely unbothered by the heavy disapproval radiating from the opposite side of the stage. To Garry, the psychological warfare was just as important as the physical preparation, and he knew precisely how to push every single button to get inside his opponent's head. He boasted about master manipulation at the highest level, claiming that his calculated movements, precise striking, and relentless mental pressure would completely dismantle the champion before they even stepped foot inside the cage. He was living out a childhood dream, fueled by supreme confidence and an unwavering belief that August 15th in Philadelphia would mark the historic night he shocked the entire combat sports landscape.
Ian is good fighter, but he don't have something special. I beat many strikers, and that's it. He just next opponent. That's it. He don't have something special to defend my wrestling.
Legendary boxing trainer Teddy Atlas thoroughly analyzed Garry's physical attributes, pointing out that the Irishman possessed a rare combination of long legs, a razor-sharp jab, and a diverse kicking attack that could spell disaster for anyone trying to close the distance. Atlas explained that Garry's unique reach advantage gave him a legitimate mathematical chance to score points from the outside, forcing the champion to work twice as hard just to enter dangerous territory. If Garry could successfully execute this disciplined outside game plan without getting sucked into a grappling exchange, he might just walk the champion through a terrifyingly bad neighborhood and pull off the biggest upset of the decade.
I have to focus on my game plan. I don't have to think what's my opponent have. I don't want to thinking about this. No, I just know I have everything to defend him, and I have all skills more skills more than him. That's why when you step to the cage, you have to dictate what's gonna be happening, how it's gonna go. Who is gonna forward, who is gonna go back. Champion have to control. It's just my plan. I will control. I will step to the cage and I will do my best job.
Yet, Islam Makhachev remained completely unimpressed by the laundry list of physical advantages and tricky movement patterns his challenger brought to the table. Having already faced a gauntlet of elite strikers and problem solvers throughout his illustrious career, the pound-for-pound king viewed Garry as just another stepping stone on an unbroken path of dominance. Makhachev firmly believed that a true champion dictates the pace, controls every inch of the canvas, and constantly forces his opponent to react rather than initiate. He wasn't losing sleep over reach disparities or flashy kicks because he knew his grappling pedigree and suffocating pressure would eventually drag any striker into deep, uncomfortable waters.
It won't be a rock'em sock'em bloody. It's not going to be Roy McDonald versus Robbie Lawler. It's not going to be that fight. It's going to be a very, very high technical fight. So boys, who do I have winning against Garry versus Islam Makhachev? I'm going to go with Islam Makhachev. I think Islam Makhachev can win the fight anywhere. Now, do we think Islam Makhachev is going to win by decision or a finish? Islam said he's going to get it done. Islam said he's going to get it done within 3 rounds. And, it just all depends how Islam approaches the fight and how Garry approaches the fight. If Garry is running a lot and Islam's having a hard time catching him, it's probably going to go to a decision. But if Islam Makhachev is able to get his hands on Garry, get him to the ground, and start to pass his guard, then he'll finish him. It all depends how the reaction is going to be when the two clash, and that's what dictate if it's going to be.
Did it be finished?
Even MMA icons like Demetrius Johnson weighed in heavily on the matchup, predicting a hyper-technical masterclass rather than a bloody brawl in a phone booth. Johnson acknowledged the unique challenges Garry's length and distance management could present early on, but ultimately sided with the champion due to his unmatched ability to dominate across every single phase of mixed martial arts. Whether the fight played out standing, in the clinch, or flat on the mat, Johnson believed Makhachev possessed the ultimate equalizer and would likely find a ruthless finish inside the championship rounds if he could successfully wrap his hands around the challenger.
And his kicks, those long legs. And that gives him a chance to catch Makhachev while standing and striking before Makhachev can get in range to catch him. Gives him a chance with the jab, gives him a chance with the straight right hand, set the table with the jab, eat with the right hand, gives him a chance again with the kicks, gives him a chance to control the outside. Gives him a chance to maybe walk Makhachev through a bad neighborhood and try to mug him. Makhachev don't get mugged, but a chance. That's all.
Adding fuel to the fiery narrative, Conor McGregor chimed in with passionate support for his fellow countrymen, arguing that Garry's size, reach, and distance management were massive game changers. McGregor loudly declared that Garry possessed all the necessary tools from SBG to stun the champion with a devastating high kick across the crown of the head and secure a monumental victory for the Irish-Brazilian contender. He highlighted potential vulnerabilities in Makhachev's recent performances and urged the challenger to stay safe, keep moving, and let loose the explosive arsenal that had carried him straight to the doorstep of a world title shot.
He's got a chance to upset the apple cart. Oh, I said it. I'm not saying he's going to win, but the reason I give him a chance is for everything I just laid out in the physical world, in the mental world, in the technical world, in the confidence world, in all of that. That I think that he has, if he could have that special night. And the last thing that I said, and I started this with, is the factor that he knows how to avoid taking.
Henry Cejudo also took the prospect of an upset dead seriously, breaking down how Garry's rapidly improving takedown defense and elite athleticism could completely flip the script once that cage door locked. Cejudo referenced past battles where seemingly unbeatable champions were forced to work harder than ever before, noting that a towering 6'3" frame combined with crisp lead leg kicks creates a mathematical nightmare for shorter wrestlers. If Garry could keep his back off the fence and maintain total spatial awareness, the Triple T champion believed the challenger had a genuine, unadulterated path to rewriting history in Philadelphia.
I think people are counting out Ian Garry out.
Are they?
I'll never forget when I had your back when everybody was say that Tyron Woodley was about to put your lights out.
No, they wouldn't.
You know what I
that.
said? You know what I said? I was like, dude, Kamaru's different. He's got the length, he's got the height, he's got the wrestling.
You said that?
What's up? Yeah.
Okay.
So now what I'm saying is you cannot write off a guy that is 6'3", can get up to his feet, uses the jab, and then kicks the lead leg very, very well. You know, will Islam take him down? Yes. Now, could Islam control him in Dagestani? I mean, that to me, that's the biggest answer, because when it comes to the feet too, he as much as people do not like him, as much as like you cannot hate on the competitive spirit that this dude has. He probably doesn't finish people like people want to, but he does get his hand.
Kamaru Usman offered a more sobering perspective, laser focusing on Makhachev's ultimate secret weapon, suffocating, relentless control. Usman pointed out that the champion operates in a calm, methodical rhythm, pulling opponents into deep waters where they are forced to compete at speeds and distances that exclusively favor him. Standing on the feet alone was never going to be enough against a master grappler who also possessed remarkably clean striking. Usman argued that unless Garry could somehow figure out how to knock the champion completely out of his comfort zone, he was staring down a very long, exhausting night at the office.
In terms. And Islam does such a phenomenal job right now at that. It's almost like he's not getting out of third gear. He just kind of stays in third gear. And if Ian Garry cannot get him out of third gear, I'm sorry, I just don't see how he gets it done. Just staying on your feet alone is not enough, because Islam's not bad on his feet. He's not. Islam has really good striking. So that I just don't think that alone, I don't think is enough to win the fight. Even if Islam doesn't take you down, let's not forget, Islam is the pound for pound champion. He's a champion. Ian, you got to come in and you got to take that belt from the champion. And I'm not saying it can't happen, because right now, Henry, and I will agree with you on this one. Right now, MMA arithmetic does not make sense to me at all.
Makhachev himself doubled down on his strategy, openly acknowledging his opponent's striking prowess and decent defensive wrestling while simultaneously identifying glaring weak points in his rival's mindset. The champion noted that Garry simply didn't look 100% comfortable under extreme pressure, and that specific psychological crack was precisely what the team planned to exploit. Once the opening bell rang and the champion started pushing the pace into genuinely uncomfortable territory, those hidden vulnerabilities would be fully exposed for the entire world to witness in real time.
I think Ian have more skills, you know. He's good on the striking, he have good wrestling defense, but he has some weak point. He's not completely like 100% like myself. But he's good. It's gonna be a good fight, and I saw he have like good takedown defense, and I have some things I have some key to beat him easy.
Amidst the swirling rumors about a potential retirement or walking away from the sport entirely, Makhachev firmly shut down the noise during a candid media moment. Addressing the speculation directly, he made it abundantly clear that at 34 years old, he felt healthier, stronger, and more motivated than ever to keep defending his crown and building an untouchable legacy. It wasn't about arbitrary numbers or aging metrics. It was about physical well-being, passion for competition, and a burning desire to rack up many more title defenses before even considering hanging up his gloves for good.
Down your gloves with the win. Is there any chance that this is your last fight, Islam?
No. I told you, I like to be UFC champion, and we will still going.
You're only 34 years old, right?
34, yeah. 33 years old, young. Not about numbers, about age. It's about your health, you know, how you feel.
Yeah.
Bro, it's not everybody cannot feel same in 34. Like, that's why I feel great, not injuries. I still enjoy the sports, you know. That's why we will fight again. You will.
UFC boss Dana White added historic weight to the conversation, boldly stating that if not for one single blemish earlier on his professional record, Makhachev would currently be sitting comfortably in the undisputed conversation for the greatest fighter of all time. Tied with the legendary Anderson Silva for 16 straight UFC wins, the champion was standing right on the precipice of breaking an all-time organizational record. White praised Makhachev's sustained dominance and championship mindset, emphasizing that losing wasn't even in the vocabulary of a competitor who had spent years making elite opposition look entirely ordinary.
This has been a big topic this week, Dana, with Islam and his legacy, and he's already tied with Anderson for 16 straight UFC wins. Incredible. He wins, he sets the record. I mean, is he already in? I know you've been asked this a bunch of times. Is he already in that conversation the way you see it, as far as the greatest of all time in your organization?
Me and my friends were just talking about it right now. If he doesn't have that one.
Former champion Robert Whittaker offered a nuanced take on the tactical chess match, expressing genuine awe at Garry's ability to use distance management and varied attacks to neutralize dangerous opponents. Whittaker noted that while the challenger's footwork and length would undoubtedly cause early problems and prevent easy takedowns, the grueling nature of a championship fight heavily favors the fighter with superior grappling conditioning. He predicted a dangerously close contest that could remain terrifyingly competitive until the later rounds, where lactic acid buildup and relentless wrestling pressure usually decide the outcome.
It blows my mind if the tipping guys are reacting this way, because they're usually on the money with a lot of things. They see a lot of things the general fan does not.
Yeah.
But I don't think Garry's going to give Islam the positions he needs to get the takedown, where I think Islam will finish the fight. And just due to his arsenal of attacks, his distance control, the lightness on his feet. Like you saw when he fought Prates, his distance management and variation on attack is beautiful to see.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's going to give the position to get the takedown. And I can see this fight being pretty safe, but very close to the wire until the later rounds.
Yeah.
Where Ian doesn't have the same conditioning muscular-wise on the grappling side of things, and Islam starts to take advantage, or gets a late takedown in the third or the fourth.
Sean O'Malley mapped out the exact blueprint for a stunning upset, stressing that Garry needed to fight like an absolute ghost, constantly moving, snapping the jab, and never ever getting trapped against the chain-link fence. O'Malley warned that if Garry allowed the champion to settle into a comfortable rhythm and initiate grappling sequences, the fight would quickly spiral out of control. Yet, he also gave immense credit to Makhachev's criminally underrated striking, noting that if the champion managed to time his entries correctly, the challenger's night could end much faster than anyone anticipated.
I hate doing this with such close fights and such high-level fighters. But gun to my head, I think I'm going to pick the betting favourite. I'm going to go Islam. I think his quality of work has shown itself to just been leagues above the competition. I'm going to go Islam. He has the skill set to take a striker 4 rounds, 5 rounds, and then capitalize on grappling, have the same strength and conditioning, the same squeeze in those later rounds as he did in the first. So I think, as you said, it is going to be a much closer fight early on, but I have to back Islam's work.
Chael Sonnen offered a characteristically calculated analysis, focusing on the brutal physical toll of forcing a dominant wrestler to chase takedowns deep into the championship rounds. Sonnen suggested that if Garry could successfully make the champion sweat out there and spike his heart rate through sheer movement and defensive resilience, anxiety would inevitably creep into the champion's corner. Even so, Sonnen refused to rule out Makhachev's uncanny ability to maneuver opponents into compromised positions on the canvas, where a single transition could spell an abrupt and decisive end to the contest.
Islam's pound for pound #1. He's moving up. He beat JDM. He's the 170 pound champ. I don't know. I think Ian's going to do a really, really good job at frustrating. I don't know if he's going to be able to frustrate Islam. He's so mentally tough. So he's been through these 25-minute fights. But I do think there's going to be a point where he's frustrating Islam. He's popping him with the jab and he's moving, he's circling, he's not engaging, he's hitting him with it. The crowd's booing. They're staying up till 5 a.m. to watch him, and he's punching and moving, but he's doing what he has to do. That's the thing. If he doesn't do that, he might, he loses percentages to win the fight. So I do think it's going to be a little bit of a punch move. Don't engage too much. I think he's going to wrestle really well. I think he's going to not get his back pushed up against the fence. I think he's going to circle, find the center, shut down a couple takedowns. And people are sleeping on Islam striking. Islam striking is...
In a shocking plot twist that stunned the online community, MMA Guru completely flipped his pre-fight prediction after digesting every single piece of media coming out of Fight Week. The prominent analyst admitted that despite leaning toward the champion for months, the sheer momentum, psychological shift, and unique physical tools of the challenger had convinced him to switch his pick to an underdog victory. He confessed that he was practically regretting the dramatic flip in real time, knowing how dangerous it was to bet against an ironclad champion, but the signs pointing toward a historic upset had simply become too loud to ignore.
I think Ian Garry's going to win a decision. I don't think it's going to be the most exciting fight ever. I think there's going to be some good back and forths, but I do think Ian Garry's going to get the...
Brendan Schaub dropped another massive bombshell into the mix, arguing that an upset victory for Garry would act as a massive jolt of adrenaline for a welterweight division desperately craving an active champion who fights multiple times a year. Schaub argued that having a fresh, highly active title holder defending 2 or 3 times annually would completely revitalize the weight class and unlock fresh matchups across the board. To make that dream a reality, however, Schaub reiterated that Garry had to keep his bicycle rolling and force the champion to fight going backward for the majority of the rounds.
This is just my opinion, but it is my opinion. I feel like this is a prop bet all day long. Ian Garry over 2.5 rounds. Or the fight, rather, will last over 2.5 rounds. I think Islam's going to be sweating out there. I think he's going to get his heart rate up. I think there's going to be certain positions, particularly on the feet, that are going to cause an anxiety, adding to the urgency to find the takedown. But if that's true, and Ian Garry can succeed 2 or 3 times, making Islam work harder than Islam thought he was going to have to work.
Wade Plemons joined the chorus of breakdowns by highlighting the unprecedented physical discrepancies Garry was bringing into the octagon, noting that a clean 6'3" frame with superior reach presented a completely foreign puzzle for the pound-for-pound king. Plemons praised Garry's impressive resume of high-level wins over dangerous strikers, but quickly cautioned that stepping across the cage from Islam Makhachev was an entirely different beast compared to anything the Irishman had ever faced before in his professional career.
One very much represents, not only do I know who's going to win this fight, I can identify that he's going to get a finish. And Islam has those abilities with Ian, but he's got to get him to a certain position. He's got to get him down. And Ian has been...
Tim Welch echoed those sentiments by looking at the broader historical context of combat sports, pointing out how recent championship fights had been upended by hungry, towering underdogs, defying all conventional wisdom. Welch detailed Garry's lifelong martial arts background, noting that a black belt in judo, earned at a young age combined with elite boxing fundamentals, made the challenger a uniquely well-rounded threat. The puzzle pieces for a massive shockwave were undeniably scattered across the canvas, leaving fans and analysts deeply divided right up until the final face-off.
See the vision right now. I think Ian Garry might win. I want to switch my pick. And I never do that. But this fight week has convinced me almost certainly this guy shouldn't have a belt around his waist. We'll see who wins this weekend. I'm not rooting for anyone, but I want Makhachev to win, man. And I picked Ian Garry, and I'm regretting it.
Brendan Schaub dropped.
As the clock ticked closer to fight night in Philadelphia, the debate ultimately boiled down to one fundamental clash of styles. Could Garry's elusive movement, dazzling size, and razor-sharp distance management successfully neutralize the suffocating pressure and elite grappling of the greatest lightweight on earth? Every expert panelist, legendary fighter, and die-hard fan had a different theory, turning what looked like a straightforward title defense into one of the most volatile and heavily scrutinized matchups in UFC history.
It would be more entertaining and fun for the division if Ian Garry were to win this fight. I am rooting for Ian Garry. I've come full circle. I'll say I lit him up with all the zesty stuff, and he's still very zesty. I do think he has the skill set to get it done. I just think for the UFC and the better the UFC, it's going to be better having an active champ fighting all contenders, defending 2 to 3 times a year.
The stakes were unimaginably high, stretching far beyond a single gleaming belt and deep into the eternal history books of mixed martial arts legacy. Whether Makhachev would cement his status as an immortal pound-for-pound god, or walk away on his own terms after an unprecedented career, or whether Garry would seize destiny and completely explode the welterweight landscape, the answers were moments away from being violently written inside the steel confines of the octagon.
Keep Islam at a distance to win this fight. He needs to get on his bike and keep it at a distance. He has to. If Islam gets inside and can get him down, he's going to be in a world of trouble. And I think one of the things Ian does have going for him is Islam has said, right? He hears, his team knows. His team's paying attention to what's going on, the chat around the water cooler, where the JDM fight's like, buddy, come on, you got to finish guys. So I think that actually bodes well for Ian Garry, because if Islam comes out aggressive, it's actually going to help Ian Garry. It's actually going to help him. But Ian Garry has got to get Islam on his back foot. He has to get Islam going backwards. Not all the time, for the majority of the rounds. 3 out of 5 rounds, he needs him going back.
Speculation reached a fever pitch as the final hours ticked away, with training camp footage and verbal exchanges looping endlessly across social media feeds worldwide. The sheer magnitude of the event had transformed a standard championship defense into a cultural phenomenon where no one could look away from the impending collision course. Every analyst had laid their cards on the table, every prediction had been cast, and the entire combat sports community held its collective breath for a battle destined to leave permanent scars on the sport.
Ian Garry's a very, very good fighter, right? He outstruck Michael Venom Page, which is a very difficult thing to do. He outstruck Carlos Prates, which is a very difficult thing to do. A very safe fight, he made it, but he did outstrike him. He outstruck Bilal. He was able to neutralize Bilal's grappling. He got a win over Jeff Neal, split decision, but still beat up Neil Magny. These are all fantastic wins for Ian Garry, but what he is about to face in Islam Makhachev is like nothing he has ever seen. Nothing. And I thought, you know what, maybe the height difference would be a big factor in this fight, and maybe it will be. Ian Garry has a height, reach, and I'm assuming leg reach discrepancy on Islam Makhachev that Islam has never seen. Not even close. So yes, this is going to be a completely different thing for Ian Garry to be facing Islam Makhachev.
The arena lights dimmed, the crowd's roar shook the foundations of the building, and the ultimate test of wills was finally at hand as 2 entirely different worlds collided under the brightest lights imaginable.